So you're an ambitious Flemish founder, and you've got your sights set on the big time. For decades, that's meant one thing: the United States. But let's be real, with all the talk about trade wars and a shaky economy, you have to wonder, is the American dream still alive and kicking for a startup like yours? Let's dig in.
Right? It's the big question, the one that's probably been on your mind. Is heading across the Atlantic just too big of a risk right now? I mean, is it smarter to just play it safe, maybe focus on Europe for a while?
Well, to help us cut through the noise, we're turning to an expert, Catalina Daniels, and her take on this is crystal clear. If you have dreams of being a true international powerhouse, then going to the US isn't just an option, it's a must. So let's flip this whole thing on its head for a second. The conversation shouldn't be about the risk of going. The real conversation should be about the risk of not going.
And wow, this slide really lays it all out, doesn't it? On the left, yeah, you've got valid concerns, market jitters, tariffs, all that stuff. But look at the right side. That's the stuff that should keep you up at night. Missing out on the biggest market in the world, letting faster competitors eat your lunch, and just plain scaling way too slow.
And just to put that into perspective, the US economy is 1.5 times the size of Europe's. Plus, and this is huge, it's a single market with a common language. That alone can make your entry so much simpler. This is a killer question. Catalina actually asked this to a Flemish founder who was kind of underestimating his American competition. It's a wake-up call, you know? If you don't go there to compete, you can bet they're gonna come here and compete with you. The choice is really yours. All right, so you're convinced. You're ready to make the leap. But hold on, because just showing up isn't enough. The next big challenge is figuring out a business culture that is just fundamentally different from what you're used to back home.
Here it is. This is probably the #1 trap that Flemish founders fall into. It's so tempting to think, hey, this worked great for us here, let's just do the same thing over there. But that simple copy and paste approach, it's a recipe for disaster. You absolutely have to adapt.
Let's break down 3 massive cultural shifts you need to be ready for. First, how you reach out. In Flanders, a phone call might work wonders. In the US, they prefer email, and they're way more open to a good old-fashioned cold email. Second, your pitch. The style is just on another level. It's bigger, bolder. And third, pricing. Oh boy, this one is a biggie.
Okay, you have to hear this story. It's a perfect example. A founder was worried his Belgian pricing was way too low. So he cleverly asks an American prospect, hey, what would this be worth to you? The number they came back with was 40 times higher than what he was planning to charge. 40! And you know what? He closed the deal. It just goes to show how differently value is perceived.
Okay, so now that you know the pitfalls, how do you actually avoid them? How do you navigate all this? Well, let's get practical and build your founder's toolkit for the US, starting with one of the most important things, your investor pitch.
So, Lawrence Brainart from Flanders Investment and Trade gives us 6 key tips. First, make it personal. Americans invest in the founder as much as the product, so tell your story. Second, think big. Be confident, but, have the numbers to back it up. Third, use a demo. Make your product feel real. And finally, be super specific about the money. How much you need, exactly what you'll do with it, and show them you've thought about what happens if things go great and if they don't. And here's the best part. You don't have to jump on a plane tomorrow. You can start this whole journey right from your desk. So many founders are landing their first US clients over Zoom or Teams. You can test the waters, get some early wins, and prove there's a market for you without leaving home. But, okay, once you've got those first few wins under your belt and you're getting traction, that virtual presence isn't gonna cut it anymore. You need boots on the ground. And make sure you send a founder, someone who can make decisions on the spot and tell your company's story. Then hire local talent and start building that all-important American network. All right, time to face the final bosses. The 2 big, scary topics that stop a lot of founders cold: trade tariffs and, of course, funding. First, tariffs. What are they? Super simple. They're just taxes on stuff you bring in from another country. Now, if you're in software, you can breathe easy. But if you're selling hardware, you gotta pay attention. For most goods coming from the EU, you're looking at a 15% tariff. That's gonna make your product more expensive, so you have to build that into your price. But it's not always that simple. You gotta watch out for the exceptions. Let's say your product uses steel from the EU.
Well, that specific part of your product, it's hit with a much higher tax, around 50%. So one single product could actually have different parts taxed at totally different rates. It's tricky. Which, of course, leads to the other big question, the one that can feel pretty overwhelming. With all these costs and the crazy competition, what's the actual price of admission to the US market? Yeah, €500,000. Let that sink in for a second. That's kind of the minimum buy-in to really have a serious shot. It's a lot of money, no doubt. But remember, the US market has a huge appetite for risk, and if you get it right, the growth can be explosive. Look, we know this sounds like a lot. It's a tough road, for sure. But the path is clear, the opportunities are massive, and this is the most important part. You do not have to do it alone. And the best news, you are absolutely not alone in this. Organizations like Flanders Investment and Trade, their entire job is to help you succeed. They've got everything from money for your trips and setting up an office, to expert advice, and crucially, connections to a local network of people who can help you. The support is there for you. And that really brings us full circle, back to that fantastic advice from Catalina Daniels. You can always find one more reason to wait, right? One more thing to perfect. But at some point, you've just got to commit. Stop dipping your toe in the water and just take the plunge. So we're going to leave you with this one last thought. Right now, while you're sitting here thinking about all the risks, your American competitor just raised a ton of money on a big, bold vision. They are not waiting, so the only question left is, what's your next move?